Okay, so let's start with a reality check. If you walk up to any engineering leader today and ask what kind of productivity gains you are seeing, the answer will be all over the map, from 10% to 75%. It sounds incredible on paper, but if you look at the enterprise gains, it's much more subdued at a macro level. Why there is a disconnect between an individual developer excitement and the actual boardroom visible business outcomes? Why is that? Because most of the organizations are stuck in what we call random acts of AI. So it's currently AI is individual, inconsistent, and completely lack platform awareness. Engineers are using their personal LLM, whatever they want, starting every session from scratch and re-explaining the same context over and over again. The random act also has a detrimental effect on tokenomics and context window economics that is bleeding several enterprises today. So productivity was just first chapter of AI, and we believe that industrialization is where the real enterprise value will begin. And if AI makes output faster, but the system more fragile, that isn't transformation. That's just acceleration without advantage. So to talk about the shift from individual productivity to industrialization, I'm joined by Ashish, and Ashish has been the modern tech leader, and he has led several GCCs in the past, and also the enterprises in India. So my first question to you, Ashish, everyone says they are doing AI. What does it actually mean to industrialize AI, and how is that different from simply running another round of pilots?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, I mean, even before I answer on AI, right, think about a little bit digital transformation journey we have gone through. And I remember I've been many years with retail sector in India, in US, and Latin America. And 15, 20 years back, if you would talk to any retailer and you ask that, are you doing digital? And they would say, yes, of course, e-commerce is just yet another channel, and I have 1,800 stores, 2,000 stores, and it's one more bigger store online. And they were mixing digitizing their catalog to digital transformation. And they thought if catalog is digitized and I can have a website and I can sell it, it is a digital transformation. And over the years, they realized, it's not the case. There is a change in the assortment, strategy, pricing, warehousing, store experiences, the whole catalog enrichment process, and so on and so forth. So digital transformation, the whole platform and product, the whole digital transformation was very core to be able to really transform your company. And I think same thing is happening with AI. You ask anyone, we are already doing AI, and what is actually happening is these AI POCs that are happening at individual level, and not truly AI transformation, which is, I think, what you refer to a industrialization of AI. And the question that most of the people are asking when they're doing these AI POCs is, will this work, or how this will work, versus answering, now the question that should be answered is, would I be able to do 50x of what I'm doing in the next year at a, cheaper and faster, but also where the CFOs are supporting you in terms of the value that will be created out of it. Now, that's a hard question, to do 50x deterministically and where there is a business case around it. That is what industrialization is. You don't build one car and look at that, how beautiful this car is. You have to industrialize the car pipeline to make sure you are really making money out of it and really transforming the company. And I think there are 3-4 things for industrialization for AI. I feel one is the obvious one, which is start with problem, not the tech. You are not only measuring whether accuracy is there, model is working, but you're also measuring your revenue, you're measuring your cost, you're measuring your risk. I think there is also angle of making sure what you are doing is a platform centric. So what you are building is reusable and can be done in a large scale. It can be scalability, but it also means betting on few, right? And one of the big problems is, I've been a CIO, so I know the easiest answer for a CIO or for anyone is yes, and the toughest answer is no. So being able to tell someone who's very enthusiastic about the AI POC and saying we are not going to scale this and we're going to bet only on these 3 POCs is very hard decisions. And I think that needs to be done if you really, really want to industrialize and do that. So these are the few, I think, flavors. Governance is another 4th one, which is super important to really, really scale things.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, the individual productivity leads to faster horses.
Exactly.
And if you industrialize you may get a faster car or maybe faster train. So that's the thing there. Coming back to the next question, you make a point about in your earlier discussions that the model itself is no longer the moat. The moat is context.
Exactly.
What does context as the moat actually means in practice?
Yeah. So from an analogy perspective, I always say for people to imagine, you get the most intelligent person that you know of, and you say, welcome to my company. You are here. Please transform my company. You have next 30 days to transform my company. What do you think the person is going to do? Is going to be able to transform? Answer is no, obviously not, right? And that's what is happening with LLMs. They are super, super intelligent. They have outscored the PhDs on all 57 subjects, all the benchmarks, but they can't transform our company unless there is a context of the company. And the context is the moat, is my whole point. And building that context, I would say, is going to be, in my humble opinion, is going to be the most important focus that organizations need to do to really get to a AI scaling and industrialization of AI. And context obviously involves many things. Context involves obviously a lot of your data that is across is accessible. Most of the data and the way it is structured is fundamentally structured for a human consumption. It is not fundamentally thought of a AI consumption. So what does that knowledge graph, the RAG style things with the permissions, with auditability was going to look like? How your business rules are going to get codified in this context? How governance and access management and registry is going to be aligned with that context, so that when you have ability to scale your AI, you are able to do it in the context of an organization which follows certain boundaries and guardrails of your organizational policies. It is able to have, agents are able to have their own identity, and all the structured data is aware of what it is using, right? Most of the cases I'm seeing, I ask 5 questions from people. Which model your agents are using, which data it is touching, who is the owner of this agent, does it, so the data, decisions, model, who's the owner, and finally, do you know when to kill it? Does it have a kill switch? And I'm telling you, you'll be surprised, most of these AI agents, people are not able to answer these 5 questions of things that are running, because they don't have the context that they are running within that organization.
So the model providers or the tool providers will not answer this question.
Yeah,
enterprise will have to provide
exactly
the answer themselves, and that's where they also will differentiate going forward.
Yeah, models are converging, and context is going to be the mode for organizations who want to become AI native or AI first.
Yep. So as organizations move from co-pilots to agents, how do we avoid agent sprawl becoming the next generation of shadow IT? And I've seen that vibe coding has resulted into autonomous agents everywhere, and they work like a rogue agents, and giving headaches, working determinedly to your economics, etc., etc.
You are absolutely right. I mean, we have all grown up to see shadow IT, and this is a new shadow IT that is getting built, and this is scary because unlike the other shadow IT which we usually used to call for last so many years, this shadow IT can act. The previous IT didn't act on its own. This is acting on its own, number one. Number two, I was reading some statistic which saying there are about 3 million agents running around, and more than half of them are not secured, do not have any governance on it. So imagine the scale with vibe coding and everything that is, it's increasing, it's becoming a big challenges, especially the, all the tech leadership and the governance leadership that is out there. So some fundamental aspects of platform, what I call a AI vertical, are very critical for industrialization of AI. The registry of knowing, because if you don't know, you can't govern. So you need to know which agents are running, what is what data they are touching, what decisions they are making, and so on and so forth. Identity is another one. We are very used to the fact that each employee is going to have an employee ID, and employee ID is going to give access. Now, what is the identity of an agent? Most of the agents are actually running with a login of an employee that is running it. So agents don't have a agent ID, and if the agent ID is not there, or there is no identity with the agent, no permissions can be managed, no access can be managed, and you cannot control it. And they are, these models are great for demo. For production grade transformation, it needs a different level of thinking. And I think if we don't think strategically about this, the sprawl and the shadow IT is going to spread like a wildfire in the companies.
Sure.
And then the other extreme is going to happen. They're going to say everything is banned, right? And that's going to be other, sad part it could go to. So which is also not right for the organizations.
It needs to be governed. I think based on what you spoke, the real hindrance for enterprises and GCC as well for scaling is clear. A complete lack of standardized policies, absent governance frameworks, missing tool registries.
Exactly.
And solutions that completely ignore your tokenomics and context window economics.
Exactly.
So we at Thoughtworks are also focusing, helping organizations design those exact guardrails, patterns, and architectural control layers. We advocate for radical composability, structuring your AI infrastructure so that your underlying models, vendors, and frameworks can change as the landscape evolves. We're talking about two levels. An execution plane, which still needs to remain nimble, but you still need to have a governance and control layer which remains very stable under those contrasting forces. I think the first wave of AI was about making people more productive. The second wave is about making enterprises more effective.
Exactly.
So with that, I will end this, but we have some time left, and we can take one question.
Hello, good morning all. My name is Mukesh Lal Chandani. I'm from Atlas Copco. Thank you for this wonderful session. I have a question here because when I look here about the organization with a lot of agents, and context is to be defined in order for agents to work effectively, how do you coin future of organizations? What kind of roles do you see that would be most important for organizations to gain a lot on AI?
Sure, I'll take in. Feel free to add. I think the gentleman here before this thing was talked about the judgment as one of the key things that's going to become important. And I've been realizing that a lot of doing is getting very commoditized, right? Whether it's a coding or whether it's a content or creation or whatever. So doing is becoming very commoditized. I think what's becoming more and more important is being able to connect the dots and being able to have a understanding, right? I mean, it's very easy. Somebody does it and you don't you can't understand how it is done, and you're not able to review it, right? And I think those roles are going to become important. I don't know if you are expecting me to name the designation of the role, but I think wherever there is a judgment, wherever there is a connections is going to happen, which means the whole hierarchical thought process that we had, which is like there will be few people who are going to tell what to do, then there will be little more people who are going to direct day-to-day tasks, and then there will be a lot of people who will be doing it, is going to change. There will be a lot of people who will be the doing part, or that classic definition of doing is going to become less and less human dependent. So there is going to be a lot of reviewers on the top. So we'll have to change many things, not only things that happen in the structures and organization design of an organization and the role definitions, but also how what is being taught at college level, and the fresh talent that is coming out, what kind of trainings they are getting as they get absorbed, because they are not going to wait for 5-7 years before they don't have that luxury of doing it for 5-7 years and then getting into a judgment case. They need to come prepared with judgment, which means that doing part has to start a little bit early in their college 4-year, 5-year study process. So there is a lot that needs to change if we have to really keep the pace with the transformation that I believe is coming in next decade or so.
Yeah, I think the one.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, can I understand that domain expertise will be most important going forward in order to make the agents work perfectly?
Of course, domain expertise, understanding things of how things happen, auditability, being able to trace it, know what needs to be done, connecting the things that are happening in two different places is going to become more and more important. Yeah.
I also think that individuals who make those capability into platform in both execution plane and control plane will be very, very important, because otherwise we'll still be struggling with the individual productivity challenge and not creating enterprise effectiveness.
So what skills different should be there in a person riding a bicycle and let's say a motorbike?
Yeah.
So the doing part of pedaling is changing, but some things are remain same of balance and whatever, and that's the speed with which things is going to move. With your cognition ability has to change, and I think some of that aspects will have to be developed.
Yeah. And they will support a lot of citizen AI.
I don't know if we have a time or not, but
so we take that as the last question, and rest of the questions, if you could take it post the discussion. I mean, if that's okay, because the time is ticking.
Thank you.
Awesome. We can talk offline.